Oh, okay, so good morning, everybody. We're back for our second day in a row. Today's tutorial, as I mentioned, will be a little bit shorter than yesterday. Yesterday we were about a full hour. Today will probably only be 40 minutes, maybe 45. Yesterday's session we were looking at our marketing products. So the products that our clients, real estate agents, will use to market their listings. We went over ordering a photo shoot, then we went through creating a virtual tour, creating and blasting out an e-flyer, and then making some print material that you can have to hand out at your open house. So those were the four we covered yesterday. Today we're going to look at some branding tools that we have that agents can use to brand themselves. We're going to go through newsletters, how to make a listing presentation, how to make an email signature, and then we'll quickly touch on House Hunt, which is directly linked to email signature. So it's really just the three products today. Okay? All right, so to get started, let's take a look at newsletters. Now what I'm going to do is create a new one, okay? Rather than edit existing, I can create new or edit existing, but let's start from scratch. You guys can see how the process goes. So let's click on Create a Newsletter, okay? Now, the first thing we have to decide is what kind of newsletter we want to do, because in our template libraries, we have what we call ready-to-send newsletters, and we have build my own newsletters. Now, the names pretty much say it all. So basically, a ready-to-send newsletter is full of content. It has all of the text, articles, links, and imagery already in the newsletter. It's already done for you. If you want to do one of these, you just send it out. It's good to go, okay? But then we have build my own newsletters. And basically what we've done is we'll give you a header and a footer, but the content, the body is empty. So these are for people who want to make their own content and create their own newsletters completely from scratch, put all their own text, their own articles, and get their own imagery. Okay, so you can do one or the other. So let's take a look at ready to send newsletter. So if I want to make one, I'm going to click on create ready to send newsletter. The first thing we're asking you to do is to give it a name. Now this name is not going to be displayed publicly. Nobody's going to see what you've called your newsletter, but we just want to give people the option of giving them a little name, because eventually if you're doing these once a month or all the time, you might find that you have a whole bunch in your little existing newsletter page, and it's hard to tell which ones. Like you might send the same newsletter but to different clients. So let's just give it a name. Let's just call this my November newsletter. Maybe I'm just going to do one once a month. So I'm going to call it my November newsletter, and I'll hit save. Okay, and now it's going to bring me into the back end of the newsletter creator. Now this might look a little bit familiar from the ones we did yesterday, e-flyer and print creator. You'll notice that we still have a navigation bar that stretches across the width of the page. This is so you can jump around in the process, and we saw this yesterday. We're in the template library right now. And just like with e-flyers and print materials, we have all these different categories of themed templates to choose from, and then we have little thumbnails of the templates right here. So we've divided, to make people's lives a little bit easier, we've set up our template library a little bit differently for newsletters. You'll notice that you can choose by the month, right? So you could look at November, and we've put all of the November appropriate newsletters right here just to make your life a little bit easier. Or you can look at the categories. This opens up and you'll see these are all the different categories of newsletter themes we have. So we have real estate themed ones like buyers tips and first-time buyers, mortgages, stuff like that. We also have fun ones, you know, downsizing, entertaining, gardening, holiday tips, right? So we have a whole huge mishmash of different themes because these are designed for agents to send out to their clients, okay? So unlike e-flyers, which you would make to advertise a listing, which you would then blast out to other agents, our newsletters are for agents to use to stay in touch with their clients, okay? So you're not going to, you know, make a mortgage themed newsletter and send it to a bunch of real estate agents because they don't need that. They know everything about mortgages. These are for you to send to your clients just to stay in touch with them, to keep in front of them, you know? So that's what these are for. So let's just say I'm going to pick my month, November. Okay, so these are my November themed ones. Well, let's say, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up. Maybe I want to send out a fun Thanksgiving one to all of my favorite clients. So I can click on preview. And this will show it in a pop-up window, much larger, so I can actually see what the content is. So this one is Thanksgiving entertaining. So I can scroll down and look at all the different articles and the pictures. Okay, there we go. Okay, and let's just say this is the one I want to send. So if this is the one I want to send, I'm going to click on Select, and it's going to bring me into the template editor. Okay, so because we are in the ready to send newsletters, I'm not actually going to edit any of the content in the newsletter. It's already done for me. So that's the difference between these ones. We don't edit the content, but I can scroll down to the very bottom, and in the footer, I've got my name and my contact information right here. Okay, so I can change what's in the footer. All right. So for example, over here, I've got my name, all my contact information. If I want to change that, I just change it right here, my name, and you'll see it's changed right down here in the footer for me. And I can do that for my phone numbers, my email address, anything I need to. We can also add some social media. So if I've got a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, LinkedIn, I can copy and paste the URLs for all of those right in here, and they'll show up in the bottom of my newsletter. Now, just to save time, I'm just going to type in just a single letter, because it would take a few minutes to copy and paste every single one of my addresses. But just for today, I'll just put in a letter. Okay. I can also add a personal message. So this is kind of nice. This is a little personal message I can type into this text field, and it will show at the top of my newsletter. So I could say, you know, hey everyone, this is my, whoops, you guys are probably better typers than me. This is my Thanksgiving newsletter. You know, hope you're all well, have a great weekend, you know, whatever you want to type. Just a nice personal little message that you put, you know, at the top. Okay? Let's go back up. Next, I can hit continue or view proof. Now, before it allows me to go to the proof page, I have to enter a subject line for my newsletter. And those of you who were here yesterday, we did the same thing with e-flyers. You have to have a subject. It's just like when you send an email, there has to be a subject, okay? And obviously, you're just going to type something that's going to get people interested or entice them to open up your email, which has your newsletter in it, right? So something that's going to get them to want to open it up. Okay, I hit save. Now it's going to bring me into my view proof page. Okay, so this is what my newsletter is going to look like when it goes into someone's email. So here's my subject. It's from me. Here's my little personal message that I put at the top. And then here's my newsletter. Okay, and there's my social media links at the bottom. And they're live because as I mouse over, they're live. So we're on the view proof page. And I mentioned this yesterday when we were making the e-flyers. I was trying to stress how important it is to view the proof, because when you blast this out, you can't get it back. So if you blast it out to everybody and notice 15 minutes later, an hour later, that you've got a mistake in it, maybe one of your social media links doesn't work, or you've got the wrong phone number, anything that's wrong with it, you can't get it back. You've already blasted it out. It's like sending someone an email. If there's a mistake in your email, you can't get the email back. You just have to resend it a second time, which never looks very good. So take a few minutes, proof the proof, okay? And you can always jump back to the template editor if you need to make changes, just clicking here or clicking here, okay? And then get back to the proof it again. When you're done with your proof and it's good to go and you're happy with it, you can click on distribution options. And this is how we're going to blast it out. Now, when we do an e-flyer, we have the option of blasting it out using the map feature, or you can use your own contacts. We don't have the same option with this kind of newsletter. So as I mentioned, these newsletters are not designed for agents to send out to other agents, okay? And our Map Blast database just has email addresses of other real estate agents. So it's useless when you're sending one of these, okay? You don't want to blast these out to another agent. They are not interested in how to, you know, do a mortgage. They know all of that stuff. This is for agents to send to their clients. It's a way to stay in touch, keep top of mind, you know, touch base, just keep a relationship going, right? Okay, so what you're going to do is click on Add Email, and we see the same pop-up that we saw yesterday. Okay, same thing when you're doing an e-flyer. You've got a nice big space here where you can type in, whoops, email addresses, or you can copy and paste them. If you have an Excel spreadsheet with all of your favorite clients in it, you can upload a CSV file of that. You can import from Gmail, and you can import from Yahoo as well. Okay? Once you get a bunch of names in here, you can also you can create a distribution list. So if I had 20 different emails typed in here and it took me, 20 minutes to type them in, I don't want to do that every single time I'm going to blast something out. So I can do it once, then I can give my distribution list a name and hit Save List, and then the list will show up down here. So for example, my client gold list, if I click on that, these are the names. These are my gold clients. I send them everything. I send them every e-flyer I do, and I send them newsletters a couple times a month just to stay in touch. But I've saved this list in the system so I don't have to go in and type in their email addresses. So right now, this newsletter is going to go to this person, and let's say I'm going to tick my gold list. So this newsletter is going to go to these people. Okay? Now I hit continue. Oop, let's get rid of that. It's giving us grief. Hit continue. Okay, now I'm back on the distribution page. I can see it's going to go to 11 people. Now my options for payment. This is a little different. You have the option of signing up for a monthly subscription for $19.99, or you can do a one-time blast. So it just depends on how often you're going to send newsletters. Some agents are going to send newsletters every month, and they might send, 5 or 6 different newsletters to 5 or 6 different key clients every month. If you're going to do something like that, then definitely get the $19.99 because it is limitless newsletter use. That means you can go into the library and pick out very specific topics and send it to one person. Maybe you have clients who just bought their very first house, and just for fun, once a month you want to send them a newsletter that's all about being a new homeowner, right? Or you've got clients who are downsizing. They're retiring, they're going to move to Florida, somewhere where it's warm, and you want to send them, just some fun newsletters on downsizing and selling your home, just stuff like that. So if you're gonna use a lot of them, then obviously go with the $19.99. If you're the kind of person who's just going to do a one-time, maybe you just send them out during the holidays. You just want to send a Christmas or Thanksgiving one during the holidays once a year to all of your clients, then it's worth it just to do the one-time blast. Okay, so I'm going to do the one-time blast and hit continue. Okay, and then it brings me to the shopping cart. So that's it. I'm in the shopping cart. Here's my newsletter blast. That was my subject. It's $29.99. And if once I pay for it, it will go into the queue and it will start sending out. Okay, so I'm going to delete that out of my shopping cart so that it is gone. Okay, let's go back to our dashboard page. Now very quickly, let's just take a quick look at create a newsletter, but the build my own. And we won't go through the whole process because it's just so you guys can see what it looks like. So this time we're going to click on create, build my own. Again, we have to give it a name. Let's call this my fall newsletter. Okay. This time we get to choose between different template layouts. So we have ones with a left sidebar, right, horizontal chunks, or columns. Let's just do left sidebar. And it's going to bring me into the template library. Everything looks the same as the ready to send newsletters. The only difference is that these newsletters are empty of content. We don't have as many categories. And as you can imagine, these ones are just not as popular as the ready to send. We've discovered over the years when we make products, our most popular products are typically the ones that require the least amount of work, right? So agents are busy. They don't want to spend 2-3 hours creating a newsletter. Most of them want to pick one that's ready to go. They put their contact information at the bottom, and they blast it out. It's just like we saw yesterday when we went through news or e-flyers. Most of the content is already auto-populated into the template. All they have to do is drag and drop their pictures and they can blast it out. And we've just found that that works really well for us, and our clients are really happy with that. Typically, they don't want to put in all the time and effort required to come up with the content, which I totally understand because they do take a long time to make. However, if you do want to make one on your own, let's just pick one here. Let's go with corporate this time. These are my corporate ones. Let's say we like this. Again, I can click on preview. So that's what it looks like up close. Okay. And let's say that's the one I want to make. So let's hit select. And it brings me back into the template editor. Only this time, as you can see, it's empty. So I need to type in, enter my headline text here. So I can type right over top of that. Here is my newsletter, right? I can upload images, just like we did yesterday. I showed you how to upload images into the virtual tour. Same thing for eFlyer. Let's just say I'm going to upload a picture of a house, just for fun. Okay, now it'll upload here. It'll show up in here. You have to bear with me for a second. Everything's always a little bit slower when we're on a webinar. Okay, so that's going to upload. It's going to show up in my image bucket right here. There it is. Now I can drag and drop it into my template. And then I can make it bigger. So there we go. And then I could, underneath it, here is an, amazing house. Whatever text I want to type in, I might, have access to articles that I can just copy and paste the text from the article in here. I can add links in here. I have some basic editing I can do with the text, change the color, make something a link, change the font, that kind of stuff, okay? But you get the idea. So it's empty. It's up to you to either to upload images and drag and drop them in and then type in text. You can add more rows if you want this to get longer. It's never going to get wider, but it will get longer. So you can go through that whole process. Then we can view the proof or continue. Same thing. We'll go to the same page. Again, I need a subject line. My fall newsletter. Not the most inventive. Nope, and not spelled properly. Not the most exciting subject line, but I'm sure our agents will come up with better ones. Okay, and again, we're on the view proof page. So again, you're going to want to, take a good look at it, make sure it's good to go, because once you blast it out, that's it, it's blasted out. And then distribution options for this one, we do give you the option to do the map blast as well as sending it to your contacts. And that's just because the newsletter is empty, this one is blank, you could conceivably put in a bunch of content that would be applicable for other agents. So instead of doing an e-flyer to advertise your listing, you could make a newsletter and advertise your listing that way. Maybe you want to put some live links in there. Maybe you want it to be a lot longer and have a lot more content because our e-flyer templates are only 8.5 by 11. And we do that so you can print them out on just regular size paper, but they don't get any bigger than that. So if you have a ton of content you want to put in, you could make a newsletter to advertise your listing, in which case you would want to do the map blast like we saw yesterday. Now I'll just quickly click on this just for those of you who are new today. When you use the map blast, okay, basically our system just creates a target area for you, okay? Now I'm in Austin, so it's going to target my Austin area. It's going to send this to 3,000 agents. It's going to cost $31, but I can move this target area and I can make it bigger and smaller. Every time I move it, this recalculates. So I could move back down here. I could make it a whole lot smaller and just send it to downtown Austin. Now it's recalculated. Okay, when I'm happy with that, I can hit continue. And again, as I just showed you, I can also add my own email addresses, my own special, lists and stuff. Okay, continue. There we go. I hit continue, it goes to the shopping cart, and I pay for it just like I would for an e-flyer, and then it enters the queue and just starts going out, just like it would for an e-flyer. Okay, that is our newsletter offering. So just to sum up with newsletters, you can send out a ready-to-send newsletter, or you can do a build your own, entirely up to you. Our next product that we're going to go through are listing presentations. So a listing presentation is basically a little digital presentation that's all about the agent. So think of it kind of as a digital resume. So it's got sections in it that are all about you. They're all about your agency if you work for one. There's a whole section on pricing strategy, on staging strategies, on marketing strategies. There's a section at the end that you can have testimonials all about yourself. Basically, it's designed for a real estate agent to use when they're trying to get new business. They're trying to get someone to hire them so they can be the listing agent on the property or the selling agent, right? So let's take a look at those. For listing presentations, again, we can create new or edit existing. Let's create new just for today. And it takes me immediately into the back end of the system. Now, once again, we've got our navigation bar, we've got our existing presentations, library, the editor, and the proof. So there's not as many steps in this one. It's a lot faster. If I click on existing presentations, you'll just see these are 3 presentations that I made for other tutorials, and here they are. They'll always sit here in the system. I'm going to click Create New so we can start from scratch. So I'm back in the template library. Now this time we don't have different categories of themes, okay? Because this is a fairly new product and we didn't want to start making tons and tons of templates until it becomes more popular. Because these ones they take a long time to make, largely because just like the Ready to Send newsletter, we have filled in probably 90% of all the content is already filled in by us and they're good to go. And again, it's just because we find that our products that are mostly good to go and easiest to use and require the least amount of work are the most popular. So to make the agent's life easier, we have filled in almost all of the content. So you can choose a color theme like blue, green, here's burgundy. Let's do burgundy for today. We basically have sort of a female themed one and a male themed one. We do have like a generic themed one, which we'll be uploading shortly, so then we'll have 3 different templates in the system. But for now, if I want to preview, I can just click on preview, and I get a little pop-up version, and this is what the little presentation looks like, okay? So on your cover page, you can have your client's name and the date, and you can have your name. You can have a picture of anything you want. You might want to go out and take a snapshot if you're, if you want to pitch this. This is your pitching material. So if you're trying to get some people to hire you to sell their house, you might want to drive by their house, take a picture of it, and put it on the front cover. Okay? Now we can turn pages by clicking in the bottom corner and turning the page, or we can use our little controls at the bottom. So we've gone ahead and entered in topics of discussion. So these are all the different sections of this listing presentation. However, you can delete pages or sections that you don't want. So as I turn the page, here's a section about the agent. This is the agent's profile. Now as you'll see, we've put in text here, but this is just sample text. We've put in text so that agents can see what the page could look like when it's finished, but it's up to them to enter their own text. And they only have to do that on certain pages. So obviously the section about the agent and the agency, the agent is going to go in and put in their own information. However, let me just skip ahead. We do have entire sections like this one on staging strategies. And as we go through these pages, if you don't want to, you could just leave these pages as they are. They all have images, they all have text. Now you can go in and edit the text, but you could also just leave these entire sections alone. They make, they're well written, they make total sense. You could just leave them on their own. Same pricing strategy, same thing. You can change the text if you want. We've got some charts in there you can use, or you can delete them. We've also got a whole marketing strategy, marketing section. And if you jump ahead to the end, there's your back cover. So it's branded with your information and your logo. If I go back a page, we've got a closing statement section and some testimonial pages. So if you want to put in some testimonials, you can add that. So that was just proofing the template. Let's say this is the one we want to use. We just click on select. Now we have to give it a name, and this time the name is going to be seen. So maybe I'm just making a generic one. Maybe I'm going to pitch to 3 or 4 people this fall, and I don't want to do a separate one for each. I'm just going to do my fall presentation, but you can call it anything you want. Okay, so it takes a few seconds here to initialize and create the presentation. That's because it's going to auto-populate a few fields, my headshot and logo and my contact information. Okay, so now we're in the template editor. Now, there's one giant image field. This is the front cover. So I can upload, I've already uploaded some images here to use, but you've got an upload images button, so you can upload whatever image you want to go on there. I'm going to choose this one. I just drag and drop it in, just like with an e-flyer, and I hit refresh. And then it's going to render the whole presentation with my picture in it. Okay, the only other things I need to do on this page would be, listing presentation, created for, and there's the client's name. You'll see as I mouse over, these are all editable. So if I click on client's name, I get a little pop-up, little text box editor, and I can put, my client's name in there. And I have a few things I can do in the text box editor. I can bold, I can use italics, I can change the font size and the font color. There's a few things you can do in here, but it's pretty simple. I like to keep things simple for our agents. Okay, so you can just make a few changes here. We don't have a headshot on the cover, but we do have a logo. If you wanted to change your logo, you just click, drag and drop, hit refresh. It's going to render the new logo, just like when we did an e-flyer. So there we go. Okay, now I can use the controls to move to the next page. And I can go through this page by page. If there's anything I want to change, I can mouse over these text fields and change them. So for example, real estate agent's name, I'm obviously going to change that to just my name. Or you could put something else if you wanted. Or if you just didn't want anything, you could just leave it blank. If I just leave this text box empty and hit OK, it's going to render, and then it's just going to have nice clean background. So I could change this to say Jana Beaumont's profile and have nothing else. So there's a few edits you can do. You cannot change the imagery on the inside pages. You can only change the picture on the front cover. We did that because we figured a lot of agents are not going to have access to all kinds of stock imagery to put on all these different pages. And this is a 40-page presentation. So we thought it would make people's lives easier. Okay, so same thing, the pages are the same as we went through on the preview, only this time, as you saw when I mouse over a text field, these are live text fields. So if I want to change the text, I can just click and change, click and delete, anything I want to do. Jump to the back page, there's my headshot, here's all of my information. Again, it's all editable. As I mouse over, I could change it all. Okay, there's my logo, I can change my logo, so on and so forth. Let's view the proof. Okay, so view the proof basically looks just like the real presentation. I can change the pages this way. I can use the control buttons. I can also mouse over here and have another way to change my pages. So go through the whole presentation, make sure everything is the way you want it to be. If you need to edit further, you can click here in the navigation bar and jump back, or click here to edit further. If you're good to go, you can hit continue or jump to the shopping cart. Okay? These presentations are $39.99. However, if you wanted to, you can always reuse the same presentation over and over again for a variety of clients. If you want to have 2 or 3 different presentations that are slightly with different information, then you can do separately and pay $39.99 for each one. Or, I'm going to delete this out of my shopping cart so we don't accidentally push it through. Or you can always go back to your listing presentations and you can edit them. So if I did this one back in January of 2016, but I really liked it, all I want to do is change the client's name on the front cover and reuse it. I can just click Edit Existing, and it takes me right back in to the one I made back in January. And then I can just make the changes to it and then republish the presentation. I don't have to go to the shopping cart again because I already paid for this one. So really, you can invest $40 and remake these over and over again if you want. I'm just going to go back to existing presentations. So once you've paid for it, it takes about 15 minutes for the system to generate a PDF and all the downloadable files. So this is the one I just made now, but I didn't pay for it. It's not quite ready to go. These are ones that I've already paid for. They're good to go. I can download a PDF. The presentations are 8.5 by 11 landscape. And we did that on purpose so that people could print the pages. Some people don't want to do a digital version. Maybe they want to print it all out and get it nicely bound, and then they want to have a leave behind. Okay, so they can do that. Some people want to download all of the files and then save them onto their own laptops, so maybe, or their iPad or something, because maybe you're going to visit your client in a coffee shop and you don't want to necessarily, you're not sure if the internet's going to be good enough, because you can always go on the internet, log into your Realtour account and play the presentation from the internet, but if you're not sure what the connection is going to be like, you can download the presentation, save it into your own computer, like your laptop, and then take it with you and play it on your laptop. Then you don't have to worry about that. So you have those options. Okay? So that is the listing presentation. So we've gone through newsletters, listing presentations, and then next up is making an email signature. And these are really simple. They're really fun. Let's go create new, just like we did for the other ones. So we can start from scratch. Now we need to give a name for my email signature. And the only reason we're doing this, it's just like with listing presentation, you might have several. Our email signatures are set up so that you can do seasonal ones. You might want to have a Christmas newsletter, or sorry, email signature. You might want to have a holiday themed one, a New Year's one, then you might want to have a more corporate one. Anyway, we're just letting you give them names so that if you have more than one, you can tell them apart. So let's just call this my November e-sig. No one's going to see that, just me. Now it's going to ask me, am I using Office Outlook for my email account? No, I use Gmail. So I'm just going to tick no and hit continue. Okay, so for our email signatures, we just have two different layouts. We have, this one where everything is kind of aligned to the left, and then we have this one where your contact information is in the middle. If I want to see it bigger, I click on preview. If I've decided I kind of like the left aligned, I can click select. It brings me into the library. Again, navigation bar across the top of the page so I can jump around just like every product we've gone through. These are all my different styles. Here's some holiday ones. So if I wanted to do a fun one for Thanksgiving or Halloween, Christmas is coming up, I want to do some fun ones for that. I can click on preview. That's what it's going to look like. If it's the one I want to do, I can hit select. And it's going to bring me into the template editor. Okay, so here is my signature. This is the signature right here. This is my little photo bucket with all my headshots and my logos. If I need to upload a different headshot or another logo, I can upload here, as we've seen before. To edit all of this stuff, I'm going to do that all right down here on these different tabs. So my main tab has all of my contact information, which is all of this stuff here. To edit it, I change it right in these fields. So for example, I didn't have a state in here. So let's put in Texas, and you'll see Texas appears right up here. I have an extra comma. Get rid of that. Any changes I make right here, they automatically change right up here, right in front of my eyes, which is really nice. It means I don't have to leave this page and go to the proof page just to see my changes. I can make all my changes right here and they appear right in front of me. If I want to use a different headshot, there's a different headshot. I just click. Same with logos. I want to use a different logo. I just click and there's the different logo right there in the template. Okay, so that's what you do on the main tab. View my listings. You'll notice our e-signature has a little view my listings link. So I can go into view my listings and I have three options. I can show all of my active listings on the Realtour House Hunt map. Okay, now we touched on House Hunt. I mentioned it very briefly yesterday and said I would go through it with you guys today. It's very simple. This is the perfect time to go through it. So I can click here to view my listings on House Hunt. So let's do that so you can see what House Hunt looks like. It's going to open up a new page. House Hunt is basically just a Google map that shows all of the listings that are in Realtour. And you can organize it. So for example, for my email signature, I just want people to see my listings, right? I'm advertising my listings. I don't want them to see the hundreds and hundreds of listings of everybody else. So the map is going to display my listings. Got it. Now, as you can imagine, I'm not a real estate agent, so I only have a couple listings set up in my test. This is just a test account, so I only have a couple listings set up. I have one up in Washington for some reason. The rest are in Texas. As I mouse over the 5 I have in Texas, we've got some information about these ones here. Looks nice, nice presentation. I can click and it'll zoom me right in. So here's 3 in Austin, and I've got a couple, one up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and one there. And as I mouse over each one, you can see some pictures. You can view the virtual tour. Let's go on here, Glen Lake Drive. If I click on View Tour, I get a little pop-up window that sits on top of the map and shows my tour, which is really nice. It doesn't take you out of House Hunt, which confuses viewers. You can just view the tour, and then when you're done, you close the little box, and you're back in House Hunt. Okay, so you can view the tour, you can get more details, right? More details about it. We can also do things like add to my favorites. If you click add to your favorites, it's going to ask you to log in, but you can just use your Realtour login and password, and then you can save a bunch of listings under my favorites. And once you're logged in, you can also search for other listings for all of Realtour. So for example, if someone was, they've already seen my listings, I've only got 5, they want to know what other listings are in Austin, they could just do a search for Austin, Texas, and then all of the Realtour listings in Austin will show up, okay? But to have this attached to your email signature, you don't want that. You just want people to see your listings, which is what we've got here. So if you wanted people to view your listings on House Hunt, you could tick this one. Or if you want people to view your listings on your own website, just add in the URL for your website or any other place where you have them. That's totally up to you. If you don't want to display listings here, just tick that one. And then the View My Listings link disappears. Okay? I'm going to have mine show on House Hunt. Next up, we can add some social media. Again, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the usual suspects. Just put the URLs for your Facebook page, your YouTube channel, your LinkedIn. Just copy and paste those URLs in here. Just to save time, I'm just going to put in a letter so that I can show you the icons. As I've included the social media URLs, the little icons appear right here on my email signature. Okay? Totally optional. You don't have to have these if you don't want. Last is a disclaimer. If I want to have a disclaimer, I can choose yes. It's going to show right here at the bottom. And we've given you the most basic disclaimer possible, so it's really small. If this is a text field though, so if I want to delete this and copy and paste my own disclaimer or just add another few sentences, I can do whatever I want in here and it will show up here. Okay? So I'm going to say yes, I do want my disclaimer. All right, we're done. Next we can continue or view proof. Either or takes us to the same place. This is what my finished product is going to look like. Now these links are live, so if I click View My Listings, I can click that. It's going to take me to House Hunt and show my listings, so it's a good idea to test that. Make sure it works, right? And it's a good idea to test all of your social media links and just make sure they go to the correct place. Okay? So that is it for your email signature. Once you go to the shopping cart, you can pay for it. Oh, I clicked on something. You can go to the shopping cart and pay for it. Our basic email signatures are $18.99, but you can go in and you can edit that at any time. So if you get a new cell phone and you need to change the phone numbers on your email signature, you don't have to go in and buy a new one. You can just go into your existing items, find the email signature that you made. Maybe it was this one, my signature from 2016. Edit existing, change the phone number, okay? View the proof, okay? And then you can save it again. Now, I don't want to go through the shopping cart process with you guys today, but let's go back to the existing items. Okay, so once you've paid for your signatures, they're right here on the existing items. You can download them, okay? Hit Save File. It's going to download an HTML. Save the file. It's downloading right up here for me. There it is. I can double click. There's my newsletter. Or sorry, I keep saying newsletter today. Here's my email signature. Now, for those of you who don't know how to get this into the signature part of your email, whoops, how did I get there? We've got instructions. If you click on instructions, choose what your email provider is. I'm Gmail. So I can now go through, scroll down and go through step by step, click download. There it is, how to get this into my Gmail. And it's going to be different for everybody's email provider, but these instructions are very, very easy. Basically, I need to select all, which I can do Control A. Then I need to copy all of this, Control C. Then I need to go into the back end of Gmail, and there's an area for email signatures, and I can just paste it in there and hit Save. And that's how Gmail works. So it's a little bit different for whatever email provider you're using. Okay, so there we go. That was the email signature. And as I mentioned, the basic corporate ones are $18.99. The holiday fun ones, I believe, are only $7.99. So if you wanted to have a few fun holiday ones to use over the year, just to shake things up and it's kind of fun, you can do that. And then you can always go back. Once Thanksgiving's over, you could make a Christmas one. Once Christmas is over, you could go back and you know, repaste your corporate one. So that's what you've got. Okay, back to the home page. All right, 44 minutes, we did it. We went through newsletters, listing presentations, email signature, and then House Hunt, which is basically affiliated with your email signature. So these are the 4 branding tools that we've gone through. Yesterday we went through the marketing tools. These were a lot more involved, a lot more intense. I do believe that Amanda is going to be sending everybody an email because in order to be completely certified and so we know that you guys really do understand the products and know how to make them, there is an assignment that you'll need to do. Each of you will have to create or log in to your Realtour account, and I do believe her assignments include making your own virtual tour, making an e-flyer, and making a newsletter. Now, as you saw, when I went through each of these processes, I was able to make a tour, an e-flyer, and a newsletter without having to pay for anything. You can go through the whole process right to the shopping cart and then just stop. Okay? You can delete it out of your shopping cart. It doesn't matter. It will stay in your account. Okay, so you guys will be able to go into your accounts. You can play around with any of these products if you want. You can make, like, right now we're in my account. I've never paid for anything. I make tons of products just to show people how to make them, and I don't pay for them. I don't blast them out. None of that. So you guys will be able to do that. So Amanda will be in touch. She's going to send you an email with instructions, and I believe she's also going to send you some basic images, like house images that you can use in your tour and in your e-flyer, so you won't have to worry about trying to find imagery or anything like that. Okay, you can just go in, create a fake listing like I did yesterday. I think I called it 123 Monday Street. You could make yours anything, 123 Tuesday Street, doesn't matter. Fake listing, as long as it has a proper city, state, and zip, doesn't have to be real, and then you can put your pictures in and make your tour, e-flyer, and newsletter. So I will get with Amanda and figure out who she's sending that to, and then it'll all get sent out to all of you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to check the chat and see if there are any questions. Oh, don't think so. I'm going to scroll down through all of them. Okay, if anybody has a question, put it in the chat and we can get to it now. Otherwise, our session today is done. I'll stop the recording.